Good morning, wrestling world. This is the Eric Squared Circle podcast. My name is Eric Ozio with an M in the middle of it, and my partner here, Eric Robinson, here to talk wrestling. We got a big month coming up. We've been talking. We were here last week on Sunday. We were here back Sunday morning, earlier in the day. How are you today, my friend?
First off, can you guess what goes between the Eric and the Robinson?
I'm going to say a T. Damn.
One more.
How about a Q?
Wait a minute. What?
That's a letter.
Q. You know what? Okay, yeah, all right. You know what? Anyway, it's a V. You kind of just ruined it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's a V.
V as in Victor?
Why does everybody guess that first? Like, what is it about that?
Well, the only reason I say it is because I was in the Army, and that's part of the phonetic alphabet.
That's fair. Okay, but you'd be incorrect.
Is it a commonplace name?
It is a commonplace name.
Is it Vivian?
Nah. Okay. All right. Well, you're gonna feel real bad about how common it is.
Vince.
There you go.
What's up, Vince?
There you go.
I always wondered if Vince was short for something. You know, Vincent. Maybe Vincent. Vincent.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Come on, bud.
Are you Vincent, or is it just Vince?
I'm Vincent.
He's Vincent. Eric Vincent Robinson. Mine is an M, and we're going to leave it a mystery.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are talking wrestling. We are watching some wrestling. Well, technically right now we're watching a little bit of the pre-show. We got TakeOver for the NXT here Sunday afternoon.
UK,
noon.
To be correct.
UK, yes, you're correct. A lot of low-key good matches here. We can talk on that a little later. But again, we are back this week, Sunday. We like to show up on Sundays. Everyone's had a great weekend. We like to talk on what's happened in the week of wrestling. And watching all the shows, I particularly enjoyed this week, I will say. And, we're full on the road WrestleMania, and we're getting set up for the Royal Rumble coming up. What's your, and then we started off this week with a big announcement on Monday Night Raw. You want to get into that, Mr. Robinson?
Bro, okay, so obviously, I just want to start by saying that Raw has been consistently watchable for the last 2 to 3 months, and I just, got to take my hat off to Paul Heyman, heading up creative over there and everything that they're doing. We've had some great new matches. We're seeing a lot of new talent get pushed, and we're still seeing them mix in people like Brock Lesnar and finding ways to have those big splash moments still. And even though we for every great match we have a outlandish storyline or a skit or a vignette, I mean, I just think that everything that they're doing right now is killing it. And this was no different because we got Brock and Paul starting the show. It's been announced. We knew that Brock was going to be here this week, and we knew it had to do something. Had something to do with the Royal Rumble. But with them starting the show and everybody's kind of wondering, who's Brock gonna fight at the Rumble. I couldn't think of anybody myself. So it was I was on pins and needles, ready to see what it is they had to say, and basically Brock entering the Royal Rumble at number 1 is just a genius idea on Paul's part, because there is a lot that you can do with it. Obviously we've seen champs, enter the Rumble before, but this is a huge opportunity. I mean, whoever gets to eliminate the Beast is, they make their mark, and their story to Mania is rubber stamped. Question is, who's that going to be? And it could be, I think at this point we're looking at 10, 10, and 10 as far as from each brand for the Rumble this year. I would hope so anyway. And going off of that assumption that they are, I really, 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 really want Keith Lee to be the guy to eliminate Brock Lesnar at the Rumble. He's got to do it. I mean, Vince is high on him. I don't see why you can't trust Keith Lee in that environment to take on Brock Lesnar, especially if you saw what he did, and we'll get to this in a little bit. His fatal 4-way match for the number 1 contendership at TakeOver Portland against Roddy. Keith Lee. I'm calling it now. Keith Lee is eliminating Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble.
Yes, I mean, it has to be someone that you can believe that can take Brock on one-on-one, and maybe that can stem into something to really boost Keith Lee in the year of 2020 for him, starting out so hot, to face Brock Lesnar at, I'm not saying WrestleMania or anything, he'll get some good maybe some crossover shows on Raw. With Keith Lee coming over to Raw because we know Lesnar ain't going to go down to NXT. Well, go laterally to NXT, even though it's really a lateral move. But in his mind, I'm sure it isn't. But
I don't see why you couldn't trust Keith Lee in that
no, you
environment.
could.
Yeah, like in a
That's what I'm saying.
WrestleMania storyline against Brock. Like, yeah, I don't see
Yeah,
why you can't.
if they can build that up correctly, and creative can use it in ways because he is the face. So I mean, you got a brand new guy coming through the works, and really high on. I mean, a lot of people are really following his story. WWE fans and fans all around the world are very intrigued, and he's just not the prototypical guy that you see coming through the main stage of WWE. Doesn't really have the bod. He's you see a lot of guys. You see more minority guys coming through now, but obviously early on, even in the 21st century, like it was really kind of a hit or miss kind of thing. But he's hugely popular with the fans, and I think with the competitiveness in the industry right now, WWE's they're coming to a point where it's like, okay, well, we don't want to spite our nose to spite our face, like cut off our nose to spite our face. We want to make sure that we're using the massive amount of talent that they have in the correct way. That's the thing. Like these other industries coming up, these promotions are, they're exciting, they're new, but they still don't have the one thing that WWE does, and that's just volume and consistency with people being available, that they can just switch in and out.
Yeah, for sure. And with Keith Lee, and I'm going to continue to hit home about this because he's the next home run for WWE. Not just in 2020, but if we're going to look at the next 5 years, Keith Lee is one of those guys. He's got an athleticism that no big man. I mean, it's insane. It's insane, and he's somebody that could keep up athletically with Brock Lesnar. I think in what would be a very hard hitting physical contest. Some of the feats of strength that Keith Lee can do, especially if, again, you watched Wednesday night on not Takeover, but on NXT. Everybody that I think saw that would agree with me. So we'll see what happens, but I'm feeling pretty good about Keith Lee in the Rumble this year.
Watching him going through PWG and Ring of Honor, and then once he got signed, I knew it was more of just when, not if, he would be in a major storyline, and eventually. And now I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to. I think that's a good bet because I do not think. I mean, my prediction at who's going to win is not going to eliminate Brock Lesnar. Purely because I just think it would just be adding more frosting onto a frosted cake for this particular superstar. But I mean, who else besides him would be willing and able to, legitimately eliminate the beast incarnate, the one person that nobody's man enough to take on, according to Paul Heyman. No one's man enough in any of these locker rooms to take on.
Yeah.
Bork Laser. But I really enjoyed the segment. I really enjoyed. The booing from the crowds to Brock Lesnar I enjoyed that because it's like honestly like a 50-50. Like people enjoy Brock Lesnar for what he is. He's a ticket grabber. I mean, they just want him to come in and make noise, and he does. But smarks like myself know that he's not a worker. He's not a technique guy. There's 3 moves.
Yeah.
He gets everything he wants, and no one can argue with it. And as a professional, I hate that. And as just as a person, I hate that. It's clear just bullcrap favoritism that. But at the same time, he's Brock Lesnar, so it is what it is. But the best thing to do for him, regardless, because he always says even in interviews he doesn't give a crap what people think, but the best thing for him is just to get him an opponent that can give him a solid storyline. If it's going into Mania, that would be great. I would love to see Keith Lee face Brock Lesnar, I guess, for the championship at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's a bit of a stretch, and it's definitely kind of outlandish out there to think of that even being a possibility. But just everything that has transpired with the use of NXT in Survivor Series, and now most likely the Royal Rumble, I think, and going into WrestleMania, I don't see why there's those that have worked their asses off for the calendar year, or at least from WrestleMania to WrestleMania in between. to have that additional opportunity to earn a spot if it's possible. Keith Lee is a guy that again Vince is very high on after seeing how he performed, and I don't see why you can't. Keith Lee is a guy that you can realistically take and push and fast track right to the top, and people would buy into it because of the humility of the move set, the ability on the mic, everything that kind of wraps up into this one package. It's him. Uh, he's he can do it. Like I don't see why you can't.
Right. And, just going back to Lesnar having no match, really, and I'm sitting there while they're out there, like, what are they going to do? There's nobody built right now. The Rumble's 3 weeks away. Who is going to be the person to step in the ring with him? No, we're going to step in with 29 other guys, harping back onto when Roman Reigns was forced to enter number one and face the entire WWE roster. Well, not the entire, but the entire Rumble. To retain his championship, that we had never seen that before. Now they're doing it again, but they're echoing that sentiment that Roman Reigns was forced to do it. Nobody forces Brock Lesnar to do anything. He's doing this because he's a true challenger, wants a true challenge. Will they all team up on him and he'll bust out of it or get like partly eliminated but not eliminated like Roman Reigns was and come back and then take it to the end? Will he get beat out pretty quickly? So I mean, I'm intrigued. Because I don't like how he's booked a lot, but I do like it now. I like it a lot right now, and I want him to build it correctly. I hope heel Brock is despised. I mean he's been a heel since he came back in 2014.
Yeah, and I mean it has to really do with how they've used him, and kind of changed their pay-per-view model from a card of just all of your talent that is there traveling, 340 some odd days out of the year, to the attraction model where you have to have at least that main event that grabs the casual viewer. And I think that has a lot to do with people's content consumption habits, I'm sure, these days. But anyway, with Brock, it's definitely been tough to buy into him because he can go on SportsCenter and say I enjoy entertaining, I enjoy doing this and doing that. That kind of comes with being a WWE superstar on a press junket, but it's tough to really believe that there is a love of professional wrestling there compared to some of the other people that are on the roster. But one thing I do have to give credit, I have to give credit where credit's due. Paul Heyman is just has such a mind for communicating with talent. I mean, the things that Paul Heyman has been a part of in working with Brock Lesnar as his advocate over the years. I mean, he helped build the storyline with Goldberg. Where think about the matches against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania and SummerSlam and having a hand in those and really taking the time to put somebody else over in such convincing ways. And now, with Paul Heyman, clearly, firmly, in the driver's seat of Monday Night Raw, that he had to have a hand in trying to convince Brock to, go with this particular type of story. And it's just insane that, I just don't know how he does it. These mind tricks that he's always had and being able to connect with talent and, convince them of a good idea. And if that's the case as to how we got to where we are now and waiting for the Royal Rumble, I mean, hats off to him, seriously.
I like I guess you don't so much have to build a lot of creativity with Brock himself, like cutting promos and doing what else and showing up more than once before a major pay-per-view. But I mean, I want to see like how the remaining rosters, guys at least that have declared to enter the match, and how they're gonna, because this has become the Royal Rumble, and now it's become the chance to, feast on the beast. Like, who's gonna do it? Like, it shouldn't even be called the Rumble now. It's like who's taking out Brock Lesnar. I mean, and Paul Heyman taking an entire hour and a half almost of a major pay-per-view is basically just the Brock Lesnar show. Once that match gets up, and it's genius by him, and I am interested because I'm extremely interested. So I'm not disappointed at all, and I'm a huge Rumble guy, and I love my Rumble Rumbles, as you know, and it's just I'm excited, and it's with Roman. I was excited with it, even though I wasn't a big Roman guy. When he had to face everybody, 1v29. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. So as far as the men's Royal Rumble match so far confirmed, obviously Brock Lesnar coming in at number one. Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, Eric Rowan, and presumably whatever's in the cage, and the remaining TBA. Yeah, I mean, any conceivably of those names there, I mean, any one of them could eliminate Brock Lesnar, and it wouldn't necessarily be a surprise. Obviously, the storyline with Rey Mysterio would continue if they'd wanted to go, that route. Um, and somebody else of late that has really, taken off and become way more entertaining is Drew McIntyre lately. It seems like they're priming him for a babyface turn, which would make sense if they wanted to go, Drew McIntyre versus, Brock Lesnar. Orton versus Lesnar. I mean, obviously, going back to that, that elbow at SummerSlam a few years back, splitting Randy open.
That was
Um,
great.
yeah, and Ricochet versus Lesnar would actually be really cool for WrestleMania too. Brock does better in matches with smaller guys, and Ricochet will sell his ass off to make sure that Brock looks good in the process. So, there really is no shortage of potential talent here. I think that the least likely of those names is probably Eric Rowan, just given what they're doing with him. But yeah, conceivably, and any one of these guys could eliminate Lesnar and start a Mania storyline.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I can't wait to add to the list of Royal Rumble winners. Brock Lesnar could become the fifth man to win it more than once, but I do not believe he will.
See,
Unfortunately
you're
for him.
boning up on your Rumble trivia there, buddy.
No,
Oh, really?
no,
Really?
no.
Well, that's too bad, buddy, because as you know, and this is the perfect time to announce that next week we're going to be doing what we call the Eric Squared Circle Royal Rumble Super Show. So this is going to be a deep dive into all things Rumble, talking top moments, talking, goats to never win it. I mean, we're talking anything about the Rumble is going to get brought up here, and something that Mr. Ozio has so graciously decided to do. We're going to play a little game called Stump the Smart, and we're gonna see
That's
just
me,
how
by the way.
much Mr. Ozio knows about the Royal Rumble. So be on the lookout for that
History
next
of the
week.
Royal Rumble. Thank you very much. It's not just one Royal Rumble. It's 31. So let's go. Try and tell me if you don't know. And we encourage you to please reach out to the Eric Squared Circle at gmail.com. The Eric Squared Circle at gmail.com. That's one S. Send us questions about Rumbles to me that you think it would stump me. And if you do, then maybe we want to have you on the show because you're smarter than me. I mean, let's go. Come on. I'm sure there's many of you that are. So let's go. I want to hear it.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, if you have any of your top Rumble moments, anything that kind of sticks out to you or what the Royal Rumble means to you, definitely email us at ericsquaredcircle at gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, join us on Discord. The rest of our social media links in the show notes. Moving on this episode of Raw, we had Andrade versus Rey Mysterio for the United States title. Obviously, anytime that these guys get in the ring, it's really entertaining, and they always put on clinics. I do think that WWE has gone to this well a few too many times. I think that this was there's a bit of interference with Zelina Vega putting Andrade's foot on the rope, restarting the match.
Genius.
Um, yeah, I think that Andrade is obviously in line to have an awesome year. Starting off the United States title and teasing the tension between Andrade and Zelina is always a good time. It was cool because before he hooked up with Zelina, Andrade is a guy that was about the nightlife, about the partying, and kind of the entertainment aspect of being in wrestling. But linking up with Zelina has gotten his head on straight, or at least his character anyway. And it's been nice to see if that any of those cracks begin to form. Just because all good things eventually come to an end. I would hope not anytime soon, but it was nice to see that they can at least be vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean he faced a future Hall of Famer in Rey Mysterio, former Royal Rumble winner, 2006, by the way. I mean, like we said, Andrade is a potential future guy. Like he's gonna be in the mainstay of the WWE. He's gonna be a mainstay in the industry. Just very talented. Be able to work the ropes consistently with a guy like Mysterio who's known for it, and to turn out and and take the bumps and sell it. And then Selena, perfect. Like that was just so timely of her to just put that foot right up there. And he already hits it. I'm like, oh no, he lost. But it's like, oh no, he didn't lose because the ref's like, I keep imagining myself as a WWE or just a wrestling official, and I'm just like, it's what I say. I didn't say it. It didn't happen. So it's like they play stupid, but at the same time they're not stupid. It's like I have to see you put that foot up there to bump you out, but I didn't see it.
For sure.
Yeah, that's funny. I always get kicks out of that. It's interesting for me.
Anyway, yeah, Kevin Owens Samoa Joe segment challenging AOP and Rollins to a match. Seth Rollins as this Monday Night Messiah is some of the best stuff he's done in a long time. 2019, was good to him, and obviously he was riding kind of the wave of momentum of kind of becoming the guy. Yeah, and kind of taking over that spot of Roman while he was away, and really kind of taking the shine off of that. But the problem is that when I feel like when Rollins is a face, he kind of becomes complacent in his role after a while. But with working heel, I think that there's just so much more room to take the governor off and let him go full throttle with stuff, because this pairing with AOP is this is not a teaming I would have ever expected, but I'm glad that we have it, because it has just it's elevated AOP to main event work with a guy like Rollins, and getting that rub is always beneficial to guys, especially two like Akam and Razor that have just not been used properly since they got up to the main roster. I think that this is the real opportunity to reverse that narrative. And with Rollins, I mean, even the gear change to adding the black glove to the right hand, I mean, just little touches like that, and finding ways to add to your look, or and more than just what it is that you say and how you act. Those little touches are going to go a long way with him, and I'm just so pumped to see where this goes, especially with guys like Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe and their mystery partner that was revealed later in the show. Rollins, it's like he genuinely believes he's the savior of Monday Night Raw, and if he does, great, good for him, because it's showing on screen. Whatever he is doing to make this character work, keep it up, because I'm loving it.
Oh yeah, and I'm always a fan of Joe's promos. He's honestly probably Joe promo is probably one of my favorite guys. When I just think he's one of the best guys in front of the camera, at least for the WWE. And he's like, I got you, man. We got a guy. And then, I mean, if you watch the show, the guy, he's back after quite a
2
long
years
absence.
off, yeah.
Apparently, he had several surgeries. I don't know the extent of the surgeries. I think one of them was a shoulder. But the biggest of shows, is back. And, they had the segment where Kevin Owens had a peek inside in the dressing room or whatever, and he just comes out with that Kevin Owens smirk that we all love. But the match itself was pretty solid. AOP and Rollins taking the fall with the good face versus heel trios factions, which I like to see. And I thought 2 years ago this time Big Show was for sure out. Like he was retiring. He was just going to be like he's just going to be like a promoter, a marketing
Like
guy.
ambassador,
Yeah, you took the word out of my mouth. An ambassador, which he would be perfect for. He's really a good man. But, I love seeing him come back, and I would love to see him get some, if not for Mania, if something else, a rematch against Strowman, put his ass down. Roman beat him so many times, and in the Rumble. I remember he got eliminated. That was the last time I remember seeing him was 2 Rumbles ago when he got eliminated. very daintily. It was like almost like it
Daintily.
shouldn't have happened. Like it was like he was gonna get eliminated by Strowman, but it wasn't supposed to be that early. But it did happen. So I wouldn't mind seeing that later on down the road with him being more involved now in the ring in the squared circle.
Sure,
Remember
sure.
to listen to Eric's Squared Circle podcast. That's what we're doing. But yeah, I really enjoy it, and I love seeing Kevin Owens facing off against Rollins. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that's always been a classic way with Owens and Joe. They always like don't want anybody's help, but then like when it suits their needs the best, they're gonna team up, and I love the team. I mean, that's a very very formidable. I wouldn't want to see the Shield versus these three guys. I mean, it'd be tough.
As far as Shield versus who?
And Samoa Joe and Big Show.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one for sure.
I like it though. I'm really digging it.
They'd have my $9.99.
Good deal.
And just once again, you're listening to the Eric's Squared Circle podcast. Again, another final warning. Both E and I do have Takeover Blackpool 2 going on in the background, so we may have some reaction to that as we
started
talked about last week. So this is your warning that some spoilers might be ahead. But back to the action as far as Raw goes. Street Profits versus OC versus Viking Raiders triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team titles. Street Profits, I just continue to marvel at what they're doing on Raw in 2020. They've got the most fun entrance in wrestling right now, without a doubt. And these are guys that people are genuinely responding to, as far as their characters. And it is so refreshing that they're not being portrayed as, perceived stereotypes of African Americans in today's day and age. That's really, really comforting to know that, WWE can take these two guys and let them be them and really have a voice and say in what they do. And I again, hats off to Paul Heyman. I mean, he's always been known as far as being able to work with eclectic talent and really, it seems like he's tapped into what the Street Profits can be and how they can, really impact this roster. So I will admit that I was wrong that they would, I called them winning the tag team titles this week. I obviously was incorrect in that assumption, but I think that they are still due for a tag team title run in 2020, and I can't get enough of them.
I think they're very entertaining. They're very that's not the word I want to use. Even though they're very eccentric and motivated. Even though they lost, I think this.
You were gonna say colorful, weren't you?
Yeah, I was gonna say colorful. But I genuinely is coming from the best place, because they are very entertaining and they speak their. It seems like they speak their mind while they have to get filtered to what they actually say.
For sure.
Complaining about how like they feel like they're getting short-sighted or they're not getting the respect that they deserve in terms of the opportunities, even though I feel like they have. But the OC losing as well. AJ Styles having to wrestle twice in the same night, but that's what he does. I'm excited for the OC, and I'm excited when they get their first, red or blue, red, I'm assuming, tag titles eventually. It'll be a good one. And
yeah.
They're not the stereotypical, of what that has been in the WWE when regarding African Americans.
For sure. I really actually, as far as these six go and these three teams on Raw, as far as the tag team division goes, I mean, these guys really can be the foundation of that brand. Say what you will about WWE and how they treat the tag team division. Obviously, it definitely could be better, and there are definitely more ways to use all the talent that they have. But it'd be so awesome to see these guys, kind of anchor the tag team division in the same vein of the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian. Just as far as all of the risks that they're willing to take. I don't want to necessarily do direct comparisons to their characters or anything like that, but the chemistry between them is so unmatched that if you get them in a TLC or a cage or any sort of physical extreme environment, I think that we would just, we'd be due for some great stuff. I mean, imagine these 6 guys inside Hell in a Cell. You know, you can't. I mean, it would remind me a lot of, the Usos and the New Day when they had their matchup a couple of years ago. I mean, I just think that you would get a lot. I mean, get some heavy hitting, just good stuff.
Yeah, it'd be like when we saw at a time with the Hardys, the Dudleys, ENC. Those guys went all out, and they were even talking about that's the Edge and Christian versus the Hardys ladder match. I mean, it was like mind-blowingly crazy. Still go back and watch that match sometimes. So good. Like, I mean, we see why Edge has been out for so long and why he retired. Those matches like that, but they're so freaking. They're it's just watching art like being formed in front of you, and you have it forever. It's just something so great, and like I think getting back to that should be a main objective for the WWE, especially when you're trying to compete with new. I think that's the biggest thing about these new industries, these new promotions that have just stronger tag divisions than the WWE has had in a long time. And the idea of bringing the Hardys back 2+ years ago was supposed to help that, but now that they have basically completely fallen off, and I'm hearing rumors that Matt Hardy at the end of his deal in March is going to move over to AEW and lead the Dark Order. So we can talk about that at a later time when it does get to it, but just keep your head to the grindstone. It's gone. I'm anticipating it because we haven't seen them, and they wouldn't do their delete act at all in WWE, and that would come full swing, full circle at AEW. So, but I mean, I think that's just something for going back to the the fact that the corporation, like if you want to really stay above in terms of ratings and popularity and what's trending.
Can I just say very quickly, because we're watching TakeOver right now, that Trent Seven has probably one of my favorite entrances in wrestling right now. I just love the roll into the ring and just he's the dude. About to take on Eddie. Yeah, about to take on Eddie Dennis here. This is while I haven't watched as much UK as I would like to. I do know that Eddie Dennis, did spend some time out with a pretty significant injury, so it's good to see that he's finally back and in the ring. And his matches against bigger dudes usually fare better. I mean, at the first takeover that we had, Eddie Dennis took on Bomber Dave Mastiff, and was able to deliver a running power bomb to a 300+ pound man, through a table. So I think that this is going to be a good way to get this card kicked off with some brute physicality.
Oh yeah, they're kicking off in Blackpool. UK. Blackpool. I couldn't read it on my glasses on.
Yeah.
I should be wearing them, but I don't feel like it.
Let's go.
Blackpool, United Kingdom. Get some good takeover started here. We're still waiting on the first match to start. Moving forward, just a couple of little parts of what we saw on Raw. We, very long show, but overall pretty solid. We're seeing a singles run with a Mr. Eric Rowan, and he is just diabolical.
What the hell, man?
Why is he so angry? It's not even angry. It's just pure like masochist, like fat, like he hates everything.
Yeah, and
I love it.
I'm. Like, all I can say is, as far as whatever is underneath this curtain in this cage better be worth it. The use of... I like the use of local talent for matches like these. It's always good to see these guys get exposure and to see, because a lot of them do, work the independent promotions that we try to, promote on our social media channels. So it's good to see people get these opportunities. I'm just hoping, especially after last week when we see, his face get, kind of jammed into the cage and coming up with a face full of blood. I don't know what it is that we're dealing with here. I hope that we get an answer sooner rather than later. Because I'm just kind of wondering what's next, for something like this, and what a DDT there by Trent Seven onto Eddie Dennis. Anyway.
Yeah.
So like we said, Drew McIntyre also confirms for the Royal Rumble. Really, really playing into the crowd and asking if they want to see another Claymore kick on a No Way Jose. McIntyre, I hope that this is the year for him. He's more than earned it, and I'm kind of wondering what's taking so long to pull the trigger on him.
I don't know. I mean, again, he did get washed out last time he did this. Maybe they're just trying to kind of let it build a little bit. But they don't want to make the Strowman mistake. You know, they want to build him right. They want to, make it realistic. But also, he's got the look. I mean, he can get it done. I don't expect him to win, but I expect him to have a pretty solid. Again, I think he's going to be on the top 4 when it's gets to that point. I don't even think Lesnar gets to the top 4. I'm going to be completely honest. But I think he's going to be in that final 4 in the match. And look pretty solid. And we have people confirmed being at AJ Styles, Randy Orton, who both face tomorrow night. After, Orton talking more crap, but that's what he does. We got Lesnar obviously confirmed, Ricochet, Mysterio, and McIntyre. Already huge fan of that lineup, and that's only 7-8 guys, or 6 guys. And I'm, it's going to be great. I know that next week as well, we got the matchup, the continuing storyline that we all love to hate, that it being Lana and Bobby Lashley happily married, and Rusev trying to ruin their happiness. They will be facing tomorrow night. Talking briefly on this, I at the beginning I really did not care for this whole storyline, but now it's just kind of cracking me up, and I just think Lashley is just so ridiculous. And I've been a Rusev fan ever really when they were doing the Rusev Day, and I miss Rusev Day. It's every day is Rusev Day. So I'm hoping that it can turn well for Rusev, and we'll see how the match goes. Do you have anything to say really on the Lana Lashley Rusev storyline right now?
Man, yeah. So green screen was cheesy as hell. Let's call a spade, and I think that's why it worked. I like that Rusev. They're kind of letting him, get his personality out. I mean, I don't know if you watch, Total Divas or not, but on the occasions that I do, you see, Rusev, kind of, being a bit of a goofy guy, and it's cool to see them kind of bringing some of that over to creative here. I don't know how many more chapters we're going to see of this story or where else it could possibly go from here, other than a total reconciliation between Rusev and Lana, which, I don't know. It's the one out that I can think of if they really want to, try to end this, but I don't know where they're going with it, but it's something that's it's got people on social media buzzing, so,
I really don't
get more of it.
You saw that Lashley got death threats from people on this storyline, and I'm like, dude, like, it's so clearly obvious that it's fake, but it's just so funny because it's so stupid. And, I'm on board now. I wasn't really so much in the beginning, but it's just like that. The segment they did last week or 2 weeks ago when all those people came out, Lana's ex, Bobby's ex, Liv, and then it was just,
we're going to come back to that.
It was funny. It cracked me up, and then they kept, like, kicking each other, and then Rusev coming out of the cake. It's good stuff. I know we want to talk on talk NXT. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on here with the NXT, and I want to talk. Obviously, I digress. I want to talk AEW a bit.
Yes,
and where we're going with WrestleMania. Where is it going to? So that's what we're going to be talking about here in the second half of the show. Again, you are listening to the Eric Squared Circle podcast. We encourage you to reach out to us for any questions, comments, or concerns at the ericsquaredcircle@gmail.com. It's just ericsquaredcircle@gmail.com, ERICSQUARED circle@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, join us on Discord. We want to reach as many of you as possible. We want to talk wrestling. The more we talk, the more we enjoy. Correct?
Absolutely. Once again, you can find the social media links in the show notes. Wednesday Night Wars, first full week of 2020 with everybody back, and we had some good stuff here, man. We'll start with AEW, give them some love first. I think the biggest surprise of the night was the ceremony or the final act. I mean, just it was.
Oh yeah, I knew it would be, and like I watched it. I was watching my family's pets this week, so I had to watch it out in the boondocks. But funny enough, the power went out right before the show was supposed to start, so I had to figure that out, and then caught the last bit of it. But the whole time I'm going into it convinced that I almost did it.
Ooh.
Almost did it. Jon Moxley was not going to.
Come on, you're gonna say his name like that.
Jon Moxley is going to not join the Inner Circle, even though in my inner hearts I'm like, I kind of want him to join the Inner Circle, because I even mentioned on this show last week that he was a kind of guy that was a part of factions and stuff in the WWE when he was Dean Ambrose. But as a member of AEW, I think he's completely a one-man band, and that's what I was expecting. And that is exactly what I got, but the way he went about it was quite entertaining. I love seeing Jericho take bumps. He is classic at it. Seeing Moxley smash the bubbly over his freaking head, like, that was great. I was like, oh, hey, Chris, by the way, I'm just kidding. And then smashes it on his head, the back of his head, and I'm just like, yes, I was right. God, I'm tired of being right.
I mean, the delivery of it, man, just was... It was perfect. I mean, very much what we expect from Moxley and just his personality and his demeanor. There was no way that he was going to join the Inner Circle, and this really only sets up Revolution even further. This kind of makes it personal now, as far as what's going on, and you know that Jake Hager and Pride and Powerful and Sammy Guevara are all going to be out. Out for revenge. So.
Oh, damn. Sorry, man, Dennis just chucked your boy into a camera guy.
Oh, there we go. Oh.
Dang.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, these guys are going to... I mean, this could be a show-stealing match. We still got a ladder match to go here.
I know.
Actually, real quick, before we get into AEW even further, I do just kind of want to remind everybody, Ian and I are watching TakeOver Blackpool 2. There are some potential spoilers that will happen here. Quick rundown of the card. We got Walter versus Joe Coffey. Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm versus Piper Niven. NXT UK tag titles, 4-way ladder match between Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. Imperium's Marcel Bartel, Fabian Eichner. Zach Gibson, James Drake versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. Tyler Bate versus Jordan Devlin, and as you know, Trent Seven and Eddie Dennis. And it appears that this match is already over. Do we see a 3 count here?
I guess I
think
can't.
So. Yeah.
I was looking at the computer when it happened.
Right, going for ripcord. Yeah, right into the buckle.
Ooh, ouchies.
Exposed buckle. Oh, exposed buckle bomb. Yeah. That's
got a cut on the head.
Yeah.
Ouch, kibibbles.
That was it.
But no, going back to that segment with Moxley and Jericho. I mean, 2 of my favorite guys in the industry, and have been even when they were with the corporation. 2 guys that I know genuinely are friends and enjoy being around each other, and it's fun to watch those guys compete because they do it the best. And Jericho, just the sheer joy, and Sammy the Spanish God and Jack Hager's face, like when he joined, I was like, I like the Empire. They're taking over AEW, and then Moxley's like, oh hey, and he waits perfectly for Guevara and Hager to walk out of the ring, and he's just with Jericho, and just like, oh hey Chris, I'm just kidding. Like it's just like I'm just kidding. It's so casual. He's so casual about it, and then just goes ham. And I love that DDT, and using the bubbly to turn on him. It was perfect, and then taking the car anyways. The Ford GT, $750,000. None of you here can even make that much money combined.
And then just like $50,000 car, bud.
That's what I said. Did I say that?
I thought you said 150.
Oh wow, $750,000 car. Yeah, and I'm excited to see where this goes, especially on Wednesday night. Like responding to that because he was able to sneakily get out before Hager was able to do anything. Beat up Sammy, which I love seeing. Because I like Sammy Guevara, and he's actually going to be at the Square Circle Expo this year, in October.
In May. Or they moved it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's in October, but they So yeah, I like him. I think he's a good talent. He's gonna make some big noise. But his character kind of annoys me sometimes, but it's funny still. Uh, and I love seeing Jericho's promo. I follow him on Instagram and I follow All Elite, and he's like taking a promo with Jack Hager, just sitting back like right behind him. Is like, come on, Eggs, we're gonna get on the plane now. Come on, Moxley. I know you're gonna make the right decision. I know you're gonna come join the inner circle. 49%, like all these things he was offering him.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I would take it all. I mean, I'd take it all. I'd sell out on a heartbeat. Sorry, everybody, I would. Yeah, I would. But I knew Moxley wouldn't. But like just baiting him, and then he's like, I'm like in my mind, I'm like, there's nothing you can give Moxley that he wants. The only thing he wants from you is that big, shiny, beautiful championship, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, God, I love being right about wrestling. Stump the Smart.
Anywho, the show actually kicked off Hangman Page, Kenny Omega versus the Lucha Brothers. It's clear we're getting ready to see Omega versus Page. Good use of these guys. I'm liking that they are trying to spin Page out on his own. With it seems like since AEW started that Page has kind of become the guy that's fallen behind, of sorts as time's gone on. Obviously, the Bucks prominent spot, Kenny prominent spot, Cody prominent spot. But with Page, after the first AEW championship match, it seems like they've worked to try to use that frustration of not only that loss, but seeing kind of the rise of the rest of his friends. And kind of contemplating his place on the roster and kind of what's next for him. I would like to see Page venture out on his own. I mean, I think that they've got a real bona fide single star in the making, ready to go when he gets that time to explore his character and himself, and doing it in a way that doesn't require being associated with the Elite. So if we could, it'd be awesome to get Page to take on Kenny soon, but we did have that bastard Pac show up on video and reminded Omega that he still owes him a rematch. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I think that Page is still spinning out, but it looks like the attention's going to be on Pac and Kenny Omega for the time being.
Yeah, and we saw Christopher Daniels defeat Guevara in a one-on-one match, and then the Dark Order wanting to come and recruit him. Wanted him to wear a mask, nice little green one. Came out, and then I'm sitting there, no, Christopher Daniels not joining the Dark Order. And then trying to do what they did the week before and just take out the entire ring, but then like the Bucks and SCU come out and take out the Order, which I always enjoy seeing, and they were able to take him out, save Christopher Daniels. Because he's kind of in limbo himself, because with Scorpio Sky kind of coming through for Tanzarian there, last year they've become a pretty formidable tag team, and Christopher Daniels doesn't really have a spot, and he's still a talent that you want to use. So where are we going to go with him if he's a guy that's going to take on the Dark Order himself? I'd enjoy that very much.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that. Sorry, train left the station. I wasn't on it. Anyway, moving on. Guevara is definitely one of my favorite heels in AEW right now. He reminds me very much of a young Eddie Guerrero, as far as just kind of that oozing machismo and charisma, and can back it up in the ring and sells his face off when the time requires. He's if you haven't had the chance to watch him on social media, and just the way he carries himself and what he does to make people hate him and get himself over. I mean, it's just working, man. It's working.
Absolutely, he's pretty young. It's a lot of development there, potential. So with a brand new company, especially when you got a mentor like Chris Jericho, Le Champion.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good way to be. It was a really good show. I think that they started off 2020 the right way. And obviously Moxley and and Jericho coming back that week, the previous weekend being at Wrestle Kingdom 14, both one John Moxley wrestling twice in one weekend and winning both times, and has the now the IWGP United States Championship under his, well, he has that right now, and Jericho defeating Tanahashi. Excellent match. I was kind of hoping Tanahashi would pull out the victory because I wouldn't mind seeing Tanahashi getting a championship match in AEW, but that doesn't mean it won't happen in the future or anything like that with any other potential champion. And that's another thing with AEW. I know I brought out, kind of closing on AEW, like they just have the one championship, and then they have the tag team championship and the women's championship. But there's middle card belts that I love, and hope to see that they do that here maybe in 2020.
Yeah. Also, and I know that we're finishing up on AEW, but I'd be remiss if we didn't mention it. But Diamond Dallas Page will be getting back into the ring next week on Dynamite.
Yes,
so
I'm
first
excited
match
to see him
for Page in some time. So it's gonna be cool to see how he plays into this storyline with Cody and MJF. And at this point, we're still waiting to hear from Cody as far as whether he's going to accept those stipulations. No contact till Revolution, 10 lashes on live TV, and a cage match with Wardlow. So we'll see. But on to the other half of the Wednesday Night Wars this week. NXT. My God, what an episode, man! Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic kicked off. Keith Lee is now the new number one contender for Roderick Strong's North American title, and I just gotta say, I am already so excited for this match simply because I think that we're gonna see as far as this match and between these two particular guys, I think that it's going to be Keith Lee trying to match Roddy's athleticism and Roddy trying to show his strength and what he can do physically. Roddy being the Messiah, the backbreaker. I think that we're gonna be in for some crazy stuff happening in that match. So I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I am. Again, I think Keith Lee is going to be a breakout guy for this 2020 year for the corporation, which is which is great for him because like I said, mentioned earlier in the show, I've watched him PWG when he was Ring of Honor. Very, very sound technical guy and is able to move. I mean, dude's 300 pounds at least, 6'4", and dude can move. That's impressive. So I mean, yeah, very good show. I am always a big fan when the Dusty Rhodes Classic come through. Big Dusty Rhodes fan. I love that when they're able to honor him every year and just deliver on big match after big match. I'm interested to see who's going to win it and who's going to be the new contender potentially for the tag team championships in NXT.
Yeah, so real quick, as far as the participants in that tournament, a couple of matches have already happened. So Imperium and the Forgotten Sons in the first round this past week. Imperium moves on. This is a really good use of Imperium. I love this team, and they're only going to continue to get white hot, especially as we get towards Worlds Collide over Royal Rumble weekend and take on the Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era was in action against Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang. Undisputed Era advances. I think that we're getting dangerously close to seeing Imperium take on Undisputed Era in the finals here potentially. Next week, we've got the Broserweights, the team of Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, taking on Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. And the Grizzled Young Veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson, taking on the Time Splitters, Alex Shelley and Kushida. Alex Shelley making his way to NXT. Great tag team that spent a lot of time together over in Japan. Alex Shelley also cutting his teeth in TNA or Impact or whatever you want to call him now. But yeah, this is an exciting tournament, and I think that we're in for some fun times ahead. Watching the rest of these teams.
Yeah, we saw Gargano calling out Finn Balor. I like this a lot. I think Finn being out for as long as he was, great for him. Coming back, having a chance to win a championship at least after he got the Universal Championship taken from him because of his shoulder, and has not had an opportunity to get it back yet. And that was 3 years ago. So an opportunity to face Gargano, potentially become a number one contender at the NXT Championship. I would love that for Adam Cole and Finn Balor. That would be great. That's who I think is going to be the new contender for the NXT Championship eventually. With Adam Cole, building here with a few other people. But yeah, I thought it was just a good call out. Gargano. I like him as a heel.
Yeah, for sure. We also had Austin Theory in action. Austin Theory is a guy that just continues to impress by the week. He is clearly the future of NXT and will be the breakout star of 2020, in my humble opinion. Right combination of looks, size, speed, charisma. I mean, as far as complete packages go, right now, as far as on that roster, I think that Austin Theory is your guy. Build him towards some good matches. Again, another outing with Roderick Strong would be a huge boon for him. Really any member of Undisputed Era, really. Matt Riddle, Pete Dunne. I mean, the sky's the limit, I think, for Austin Theory. And we're in for a really cool year with him.
Yeah, and oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead, bud. Yeah.
It seemed like the match that was the match of the night and potentially the match of the week. I think the Fatal 4-Way that Keith Lee was able to win with a Spirit Bomb over Grimes. Grimes was looking like he was going to take that match, but unfortunately Keith Lee was able to come out sneaky, which is funny to me because he's such a damn big dude to win that. But each guy never holding anything in NXT in terms of a championship. All four had legitimate reasons to win this match, but Keith Lee coming through. Dejanovic, Priest, and Grimes were not able to, get through there, but they all have reasons to be formidable talents in this company. A+ match, very good.
Yeah, I mean that spot where Lee takes Damian Priest, has him in powerbomb position, swings him into Dijakovic's gut, and then powerbombs Priest back to back onto Dijakovic. I mean, I don't know how they come up with this stuff, but I love that they're coming up with new spots we haven't necessarily seen, and it just feeds into him being the limitless one. I mean, it's really cool.
Fully ready for the limitless one, and want to see him take over in 2020. I would love to see it. I want to see. Ultimately, I don't think he'll be the one to eliminate Brock Lesnar, but I would love to see it. I do think he's going to be like Takeover comes, WrestleMania weekend. It's gonna be the Keith Lee show, in my opinion. I think that's going to be an interesting. Who he's going to face. Is it going to be him versus Adam Cole, or is he just going to retain or keep fighting for the the North American Championship? Big Keith Lee fan. Let's go, Keith.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite thing about NXT right now is that any one of these guys could go up against Adam Cole tomorrow. Of all the people that we've kind of just discussed over the last few minutes, any one of them could realistically beat Adam Cole tomorrow, and I think that everybody would flip their lid for it and be all in on it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's a nice position to be in, if you're Triple H and you're running NXT. Anyway, onto the women's division. Chelsea Green made her debut following a match with Mia Yim and getting the sneak attack. Also debuted a new manager, something we don't really see on WWE TV all that much anymore. Robert Stone, formerly known as Robbie E in Impact. Man, remember Jersey Shore, dude?
Does anybody not remember Jersey Shore
at
this point?
Just think
about it. Away.
Think about the Jersey Shore parties that we went to in college, man. I mean, that first year that show came out and everything about just.
I know.
Everybody.
Something I can't get away from that I did once in my life. Oh my god.
Man, I mean, okay. What do you like? The one piece of Jersey Shore-esque merchandise that you regret ever owning?
I don't think I ever owned anything. I just remember going to those parties. That was bad enough for me.
I don't know. You seem like you might have had an Affliction shirt or two.
Dude, no, I was never one of those guys. Affliction shirt, I don't even. No, they were like $30, $40 for those shirts, and I'm just like, I'm good on that. Yeah, it's like wearing a tattoo on a shirt.
I guess I'll leave my Jersey Shore party attire back in 2009 where it belongs. But anyway, Yeah, Robbie E coming over to NXT. I think that this is really cool that they're introducing more managers. It's a lost art. I mean, this is WWE kind of made their name with having good managers and having those personalities. I mean, your Captain Lou's, your Bobby the Brains, Jimmy Hart, Gary Hart. Just the lists go on. Brother Love, and just it's something that I'm glad to see making a bit of a comeback, and it'll be cool to see what they do as far as using a male manager again. So we'll see, but this could be good for Chelsea Green. Elsewhere in the women's division, Tony Storm versus Rhea Ripley, part 2 is brewing again. This time stateside. And this is something I wanted to ask you about. Kind of as we've been talking about stuff throughout the week. What do you think about the use of NXT talents, across both coasts, as far as kind of swapping out names in America, send them to the UK, and vice versa?
I mean, I'm glad that they're doing it. I think it could be definitely used more, and I think you have guys and gals on the shows that be willing to make the trips. It's more difficult, obviously, because they're all on different, show tours, and they go to different places. So, like, you go to one place, you're going to have to make that alternate drive somewhere else to go to their show. If they're willing to do it, why not let them see what you can do? Obviously, major pay-per-views, you're going to have everybody there regardless, but everybody has a little bit different tour schedule to what they're going to. But they're always within, I feel like, 100 or so miles of each other to where they're at, maybe a little more. But I think they could use it a little more personally.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really dig it. I think that it's nice to see, being in the UK, I would imagine it's tough to, cycle talent in and out. And I think that, it's good to help get exposure to the show because I like NXT UK. That's something I do wish I watched more of. I should do a better job of figuring out when it's on during the week. But that's the thing is I think that they would definitely benefit from being able to have some of these stars go over there and announce these matches like in advance, and be able to get more eyes on that product over there, instead of making it feel like super underground.
Yeah. No, and I feel like that's one thing that the WWE has over a lot of people or industries is that bringing in new, not necessarily new, but like guys, gals that, you wouldn't see face each other if it weren't for...
Oh my God! Piper Niven just did a Canadian Destroyer. I am so sorry I had to cut you off there.
I was done. Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry. And Tony Storm Zero. Oh my God.
I just saw it. It's my mind a little.
Anyway,
nice,
dude. I'm so sorry I did that, but wow, and she is incensed right now. Look at this replay. Holy shit.
NXT. Yeah, I got the replay going here.
Wow.
Love it.
Man, what a match. I cannot wait to watch this one from the beginning. Yeah, she's one signing I'm glad that they made, Piper Niven. Yeah, She was one of my favorites in the Mae Young Classic a couple years back.
And again, I will admit to the wrestling fans, I'm not super familiar with the women's division in the UK.
Oh, come on, Storm Zero, on to Piper Niven, let's go.
But I am watching some quality content. Oh, yeah, on top of it.
All right. She's hitting the hat
trick.
Can she do it? She got it? 1, 2. Okay. Anyway, moving on to round out the week. SmackDown kicked off with Miz TV with the returning John Morrison. First real vignette and real extended screen time we've seen since his return to WWE. I like these guys back together again. I'll admit. I think that Miz is. I think it's more that now this is two single stars that are a tag team as opposed to them being a tag team the way that they used to be.
Yeah, I would say it just felt a little lackluster to say that, again, they're not really utilizing him and his appearances since he's been out for 9 years. But again, he's still very, seems funny and charming. People want to hear what he has to say. And him and Miz do well together in terms of their presence in the ring. And, there's clearly a well-deserved history there. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it, and if they're going to both enter the Rumble, or if they, are they gonna? How long are they going to last? Let's see it. I'm interested.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a given that we'll likely see John Morrison back in the Rumble, especially because with it being that type of match, it was. This was always a match where Morrison shined and could use the parkour skills, which, obviously he got to use a little bit later on in the night too during the Miz Kofi match. But with Morrison, I mean, to have him back and to have him, return and have his, have a first big moment here. Obviously, we know that he'll be back in action next week against Big E, but this is a hell of an addition to add to the roster, especially on SmackDown, is having John Morrison back. So I'm just ready to see what it is that they do with him and with the Miz, but I think that this pairing is good for them. Obviously, I think that heel Miz is better than babyface Miz, which tends to get a little complacent. But yeah, I'm ready for it. Let's go.
Yeah, and we had their match with Kofi. Excellent match between the two of them. They've worked together so long now at this point. You got guys that are just so familiar with each other. They're able to anticipate different things and throughout the match, and it's a solid match on a Friday night. And seeing Miz pick up the win.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta say, and I don't know if this is just a random musing, but do you like having wrestling on Friday nights?
I don't know. It's tough for me because a lot of times I watch. I don't really watch anything. I'm either like asleep, I'm out with friends, or I'm playing video games. A lot of times on Friday nights, like after the work week, you kind of want to just unwind. I don't dislike it, but I also like, I found it easier to watch it on Tuesdays.
Sure.
But that's just me personally. I mean,
no, I agree with you. I mean, it seems like, as you get older, obviously you have other things that you do on, on the weekends and things like that, and it can be tough to want to tune in live. I mean, thank God for DVR and on demand and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's just tough to think that, especially once you get towards the summertime, that we're getting ready for Jordan Devlin versus Tyler Bate. This one's gonna steal a show. But anyway, there's I just think it's tough to make that choice to put wrestling on a Friday, especially as the weather warms up when more people are going to be out. But that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can see that there. I mean, thank God we can record stuff, so I can go back, or I can go on YouTube and catch, parts of segments and things like that. So that's always a good thing, for me, So it's good stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I only caught a bit and pieces of SmackDown this past week. Seemed like the show was pretty average, maybe a little above average, in terms of its content. Had, the Sasha and the Lacey Evans segment. It's good. It's pretty solid. But
So
you got Strowman.
I want to
and
deep dive
Shinsuke.
into this one a little bit, and I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
No?
Did you know that apparently when Bailey said that when Bailey said to Lacey that Sasha is in LA working on a rap album, that's actually true.
Really? That
Yeah,
makes sense. I mean, her
apparently.
uncle's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. I mean, obviously did the remix of her theme song, and I think if I'd heard it right that Sasha sang that part on the original theme of her of her old theme song. So that'd be pretty crazy. But yeah, Sasha Banks rap album. Who'd have thought it?
Hey, I'll listen to it. I'll listen to a song. I'll listen to her the main track on the album. That's always the one that sets it up. I'm interested to hear it.
Also, Heel Bailey. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I think that this is just the most refreshing thing that has happened to her in a long time.
Yeah, I think she needed it, and she was just getting kind of stale as a face. I mean, a lot of people like her, her niche as a face, but just need to see some range out of her,
Yeah, and what would get frustrating with her as a babyface is it seemed like they were scared to have her look aggressive in any way, and if they did have her do it, it just came off as cheesy, and I think that a hard reset of this character was much needed, and I think that she's liking a lot of it. But anyway, I think coolest storyline also Otis Mandy Rose. I'm liking that we're seeing the return of these love angle backstage vignettes. I mean, Otis is perfect as that guy. Being the lovable goofy guy that falls for the blonde bombshell. So
yeah, Otis is he's a goofball, a fan favorite, lovable big guy. It's a nice little side creative, I guess I would say. I like Otis too, so I'm rooting for you, Otis. I am though. I'm not trying to sound sarcastic.
I mean, it's not hard to. He's one of those guys that not only is he good in the ring, but it's his personality and it shows, and he just looks like he's having fun out there, and he's just a big kid, man. So I think that people just respond to that. I certainly do.
Yeah, and then we got kind of wrapping up on the show itself. We got the return of the Usos teaming up with their brother, their cousin, Roman Reigns, to take on King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler. Really good. I mean, this is excellent. This is very brutal. Corbin and Ziggler were able to pull out the victory over the Usos, even though it was a disqualification, but really good match. Went outside, out onto the tables.
And the return
I like
of
seeing the
Robert
Usos
Roode.
return. Yeah.
Yeah,
really
back from
good.
30-day suspension out of nowhere. I'd actually completely forgotten about that until I saw him show up. But yeah, I'm liking the aggressive side of him. I would hope that they kind of add that to his character more. I mean, I know that they are really trying to build Baron Corbin, but I think that they shouldn't do it at the expense of everybody else, and I think that everybody needs to try to get their time to shine in this stable or alliance or whatever you really want to call it. So it's good to see Bobby back. Dolph is just there. Sure, okay. But yeah, also having the Usos back on SmackDown, having them back in general on the roster is always a nice addition. That they can work with just about anybody. You need them to do a program with a New Day or just a match to fill some time on a week. They can do it. So
Right.
Hopefully they can just keep everything together this time. For their sakes, and I would hope that since the Usos are back, we can hope that we'll see Naomi return soon.
Yeah, I mean, she's been out for a long time, and WWE does need to find new original things to continue matching everything else. So, I love seeing the Usos come back, and I haven't seen them much at all. Like having that luxury to be able to set guys down for a while and still have good talent to be able to keep storylines fresh and things going. That's what they need to continue doing into this year after the Royal Rumble, going into WrestleMania. I feel like things aren't really set up what they have been in the past in terms of going into a road to WrestleMania. I feel like they're going to be creating a lot of different things, maybe on the fly going forward.
Yeah, for sure. In a nutshell, a very good week. I mean, just a lot of good stuff happening right now. And as we wrap up here, we're seeing the face off between Jordan Devlin and Tyler Bate. This match is getting ready to kick off. Definitely encourage everybody to watch Takeover Blackpool. And again, if you've got any questions or anything you want to contribute, Royal Rumble Super Show is coming up next week. So any of your favorite Rumble moments, trivia, anything you want to talk about or want to hear us talk about related to the Royal Rumble, ericsquaredcircle@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, join our Discord server. All of the links to our social media are in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. E, it's a pleasure as always, my man.
You have a good one, buddy.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Eric Squared Circle Show. If you liked what you heard, take a quick second to leave us a review, and if it's a 5-star, we'll read it on the air. We really want to hear from you guys, so if you have a question, trivia, interview ideas, or any other suggestions, we want to hear them. Shoot us an email at ericsquaredcircle@gmail.com. And don't forget, you guys are the reason that we do this show. It's the ultimate show by Smarks for Smarks, so what's not to love? Let's keep the discussion going on Twitter using the hashtag E2SC and join our server on Discord. Last but not least, subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you turn on notifications because you'd be crazy to miss anything it is that we're doing right now.